Hi, my name's Peter Stillwell, and I'm going to be presenting on the uncertainty reduction theory. Just a little bit about the theory. It's basically the idea that when two individuals meet, there's a high level of uncertainty between the two, and that it can cause strife. And the goal of those two individuals is to decrease that uncertainty in order to form a good relationship. Um, Now, the level of uncertainty is often caused by, or not caused, I'm sorry, it uh, is used by both. That initial conversation or interaction with one another uh, gives each individual a prediction about how future interactions with that individual will be. So, for example, if I were to meet Joe Schmo on the street and both of our levels of uncertainty are high because neither of us know each other, and that interaction does not go well, and I still have very uncertain feelings about Joe Schmo, the next time I run across him, I'm going to assume that that interaction is going to be likely the same. Whereas if that interaction had gone very well, we had found a lot of similarities, our conversation was light, we got along. The next time I meet him, I'm much more likely to be friendly, as is he, and that next interaction will go much smoother than if it had not the first time. Um, so there are Berger, I believe his name is. Wow, that's a great way to start a presentation. Yes, Berger proposes 8 axioms um, within reduction theory, and these axioms just kind of help us understand what takes place within a first interaction between two individuals. So one of the first axioms is verbal communication, and verbal communication is very important. I think we all know that it starts the conversation. You have to be verbal in order to have a conversation. Now, sorry if you hear my daughter in the background. She is going down for a nap, not very happy. The second axiom is nonverbal warmth. So, as you talk with an individual and you find like interests or that conversation goes well, that level of uncertainty that we had at the start of the conversation has decreased. And our nonverbal, so the way that we communicate without words, becomes more friendly, more warm, and it allows for an easier conversation to progress. Now, if that initial verbal communication did not decrease the amount of uncertainty within the conversation, that nonverbal warmth is going to be not present. There's going to be a lot of cold, standoffish, nonverbal communication that's being brought about because of the level of uncertainty that is still present within the two individuals. When two individuals meet, there's always going to be a session of informational seeking, right? That's axiom number 3. So informational seeking is natural between two people that have just met. You are trying to understand what this person believes, what they stand for, where they are on certain issues, depending on what the circumstances of meeting is. And based upon their answers, again, that either increases the amount of uncertainty between you and that individual, or it decreases it, allowing for an easier conversation and better future conversations. Axiom 4 is self-disclosure, telling about yourself, right? I think this is a very important thing in conversations, opening up and letting people see who you actually are. Small talk is great. I think it gets you a long ways, but in order to create true relationships and long-lasting relationships, you have to be able to open up and talk to people about who you are and what you believe. Axiom 5 is reciprocity, basically reciprocal, meaning that if I'm opening up, are they going to open up? And that all depends on uncertainty, right? If I feel comfortable within the conversation, yet Joe Schmo does not, he's not going to reciprocate the self-disclosure that I have just reciprocated. He might just be like, great, dude, that's awesome, glad to hear that. Instead of saying, yeah, I've struggled with that in my life too, or yeah, my workplace does that too, and it just drives me up the wall. Axiom 6 is similarities, and this is essential in creating relationships as well. I think we all know you have good relationships when you share similarities with individuals, whether that be humor, interests, workplace, school. Having some common ground allows for easier flow of communication. Axiom 7 is liking, and I think this just goes without saying. If you're in a conversation with someone and you just don't like them, that's part of it. And that increases a level of uncertainty between the two individuals and causes strife in later interactions. Axiom 8, and the last one, is shared networks. So shared forms of communication. I think in today's culture, that can be, social media, it can be text messages, it can be calling, it's all about how you share your network of information, right? So the corporation I chose to apply this to is General Motors. I actually work for the company. I'm on work here in Fort Wayne at their truck plant. So I think that this uncertainty reduction theory can be very beneficial in the automotive industry, especially centered around that tension that is often heard about between unions and the salaried management. Now, it's a fine line, and the union side of things has a contract, they have a book, they have a way that they go about their business, and the salaried side of the company is supposed to adhere to that contract. They've agreed to it, they've debated over it, and these are the bylaws of how the company will run in accordance to managing hourly individuals. So coming into an environment like that, I'm on the management side of the company. So I oversee 25 individuals of the hourly rate, and they're union members. So entering into that field of work, there is an automatic disconnect between me and the people that I am supposed to manage, because there is a natural built-in community, or not community, but belief system that management is out to get the hourly and the hourly are out to get the management. So this creates a lot of hard interactions between individuals without even having to know them. A lot of times when a new manager comes into an area, there's already in the back of people's minds, well, this is just going to be like every other suit, right? He's going to run it the same way. He's not going to abide by the contract. So I don't need to be nice to the guy. And that's not a good way to build trucks. Everybody, I say this all the time to my people, but I say everybody is happy and everybody makes money when we build trucks, right? And I think it's true. So you can't argue with it. But the point of using uncertainty reduction theory is that if we trained our salary individuals in this theory, when they go out to the floor and meet their individuals that they're going to be managing for the first time, they will have a sense of how I need to act in order to be viewed as likable, to be viewed as enjoyable, right? Or at least approachable, is important. Because as a manager, you need to be able to have conversations with your individuals that are not confrontational all the time. And there's a lot of confrontation in a union shop. So what I am proposing is that we do a new hire orientation, and it's like a week long. And there's a lot of talk about, timekeeping and the book, the union book, right? And, duties and responsibilities of your role. But there's not a lot of talk about how to manage individuals. And I think that that's because they're hiring people that have had management experience, or at least they think they are. But not always in a union shop. So what can be done is they can run through the idea. They don't have to be as explicit, right? But of what an uncertainty reduction theory is, and explain the truth that when two people meet, there is a high level of uncertainty between these two individuals. And that level of uncertainty, whether you keep it high or you work to reduce the amount of uncertainty, can help you in a relationship with that person in the future. And a good way to kind of practice this is to have all of the new hires one at a time, right? Make one person the manager, make all the other people the hourly. And then the instructor gives all of the hourly individuals a personality, right? Or certain likes, dislikes, all of that. And they, one by one, go up to their new manager and have a 5-minute conversation, right? And the goal is for the manager to meet certain check marks, right? To be able to have a simple conversation with somebody that decreases the amount of uncertainty between the two. So that way, the next time that they have the interaction, they have a foundation that they've already built. They know that Johnny likes baseball and that his kid plays football and that he's a deer hunter, right? All of these things are great, and they may not pertain to building trucks, but understanding an individual and having a relationship with them will allow you to have a relationship with that person, and having a relationship with that person allows you to be able to manage them better. And it's sometimes I think some people think managers shouldn't, right? Because if you have to discipline this person, it's a lot harder to do when you are cordial or friendly or have a friendship with this individual. But I think it makes it easier, right? Because you can go to the individual and say, hey, you know where we stand. I like you. I think you're a great worker, but you're lacking in this area. And unfortunately, if you don't pick it up, this is where it's going to go. You can have honest conversations with individuals without making it confrontational because you have a relationship with them. So teaching managers, salaried individuals, to decrease the amount of uncertainty between them and their union counterparts or union hourly individuals can create a shop that functions at a better level, right? People are going to be more happy. They are not going to be as confrontational with their managers. They're not going to be filing grievances as often unless you actually are doing things wrong. They're going to be more likely to approach you and say, hey, this is going wrong in my area. Can you help me figure it out? Instead of trying to trip you up or trying to, whatever they may be trying to do. And it goes both ways, right? Salary does the same thing. So it wouldn't be bad to do a same kind of training to your new hourly individuals as well, an uncertainty or a uncertainty reduction training, right? How to have conversations with individuals. But I think it's far more important on the salary aspect because they're the ones that are going to have to deal with disciplinary actions. They're the ones that are going to have to deal with people that are disgruntled or how to make people work better or, meet goals. And a lot of that is not accomplished in the shop. So that's uncertainty reduction and how I think it can be beneficial to General Motors and a lot of other companies, but specifically General Motors. So thank you.